Honey is produced by honeybees from the nectar of plants. The nectar mixes with enzymes in the bee's saliva, and then the bees carry it back to the beehive to make it into honey. The bees prevent the honey from fermenting by sealing the honey in the honeycomb. The honeycomb consists of a series of hexagonal cells constructed from bees' wax. You can consume the whole honeycomb, including the honey and the waxy cells surrounding it. You can eat honey on its own as a snack. You can also drizzle it on oats, breakfast cereals, pancakes, toast, yogurt, certain meats, and you can also use it as a salad dressing. You can add honey to smoothies, and you can also use it to sweeten tea and coffee. There are many different types of honey. Some of the main types of honey include acacia honey, clover honey, Manuka honey, and heather honey. Manuka honey is considered to be one of the healthiest honeys out there. However, Manuka honey is typically very expensive. Manuka honey is a type of honey that is made by bees that pollinate only the Leptospermum scoparium, which is also known as Manuka bush, which is native to New Zealand. Manuka honey may contain high levels of antibacterial activity. You'll notice on jars of Manuka honey, you'll notice the signs UMF, which stands for unique Manuka factor, and MgO, which stands for methyl glyoxal, and NPA, which stands for non-peroxide activity. These all measure the levels of antibacterial properties in Manuka honey. So for example, if you see MgO 300 on a jar of Manuka honey, that means that there's 300 milligrams of MgO, methyl glyoxal, in that particular jar of Manuka honey. The higher the number, the higher the level of antibacterial activity. If you see UMF on a jar of Manuka honey, unique Manuka factor, that's the quality mark, that's what that measures. So it might say 5 plus, 10 plus, etc. Manuka honey is the only honey in the world that has to pass by a lab before being sold. However, all raw honeys can have medicinal benefits. For instance, research has shown that there's a similar overall presence of powerful antioxidants called phenolic compounds in Irish heather honey as there is in Manuka honey. These antioxidant compounds can help prevent oxidative damage from occurring in cells in the body, and so may help with preventing cancer. Irish heather honey is also a lot cheaper than Manuka honey. Raw honey is said to never spoil, and so you can consume it long after its mentioned expiry date. However, if you leave it out in the open in a humid environment and unsealed, then it will spoil. Most of the commercial honeys that you see in supermarkets are not raw honey. Raw honey is honey that's unheated and minimally processed. Nothing has been added and nothing has been removed. Look for honey that's raw, unprocessed, unpasteurized, unfiltered, unheated, and organic. Most of the vitamins and the beneficial active enzymes are removed by high heat processing and pasteurization of these honeys. The heating and straining of honey destroys most of the nutrients, amino acids, bee pollen, and sometimes artificial ingredients such as high fructose corn syrup are added to these commercial honeys. You can buy raw honey in most health stores. You also ideally want the honey to be from a local source. The bee pollen in raw local honey may help reduce allergy symptoms. It can potentially help you to adapt to pollen sensitivities, building immunity to local pollen. You can buy local honey from farmers markets and directly from beekeepers. Like in some honeys, you'll notice that there's different other different bee products. Okay, some of them include propolis, which is also known as bee glue. This is another one then. This is bee pollen. So it's bee pollen, bee propolis, and also royal jelly. And royal jelly is an ancient remedy with remarkable antibacterial properties. While honey gives energy to the worker bees, royal jelly is the main source of food for the queen bees. It's a creamy substance with antibacterial properties, making it an excellent ingredient in cosmetics and skin care products. You can also buy royal jelly as a supplement as well. Honey is high in sugars. It's made up mostly of sugars, and roughly half of this sugar is fructose and the other half is glucose, which is an ideal enough ratio for the body to, for the liver to digest it properly. And that's why it's a better option compared to table sugar. The enzyme glucose oxidase produces hydrogen peroxide, an antibacterial compound. Its effectiveness as an antibacterial substance depends on the type of honey. Some of the downsides to eating honey is, first off, that it's high in carbs. So if you're following a low carb diet, then you may want to consider avoiding honey. Also, honey, even raw honey, contains high amounts of sugar. So it should be consumed in moderation. And if you're a diabetic, then you may want to consider avoiding honey completely. And finally, honey and products that contain honey should not be consumed by infants under 12 months. And that's because it can cause infant botulism, which is a disease characterized by muscle weakness. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Super tasty.
Two hours later.
What's the dealio?